Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Mandy Azul back at another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. If you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. Let's get one started, shall we? Today we have Nubatama, Magatsu, or Magetsu. I prefer the word Magetsu, and I will probably refer to it as Magetsu during the entire deck profile. If you hate me doing that, go away. Magetsu, reverse dato. Yes, the reverse from Magetsu. Honestly, the reverse from Magetsu is genuinely one of my favorites, if not my favorites, just because, like, it doesn't overtake the original Magetsu, which I hate about a lot of cards where, once they're revealed, they might support the deck, like, they're the new boss monster, or they're the new main way to finish a deck. No, not this one. It's, like, an actual good support card for it. It has no Vanguard abilities, but that's fine, because it's meant to support the original, and I also like its art like hell. Downside is, if you don't have the original, you can't really use it, but yeah, it's a good card, so let's go ahead and get this deck profile started, and we'll talk about it when we get to it. So first up, our starter today is Stealth Dragon Magetsu Win. Grade 0, boost, 10k show, 6k base. We all know I'm going to refer to it as Magetsu. I literally said it in the intro of this. If it's going to bother you, once more, click off. If it's not going to bother you, stay here. Anyways, auto, when it's rolled upon, draw a card. Then if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 1 or grade, you get a quick show ticket to a hand. Standard starter, nothing too special about it. You don't even really need to run the Magetsu starter unless you really want to, because I don't think there's a way to get stuff out of drop into your hand and soul into hand. If there is, so be it. But I'm pretty sure there isn't, or at least in Magetsu there isn't. So, you know, but it's still a good starter to run just because, you know, it has the Magetsu name. If you want to be a real Ninja Master M-boy or a Shingo Kamui Creepy Stalker boy, run the Magetsu starter. If you don't care, run any starter you want. But I do prefer the Magetsu starters because it looks cute. Trigger-wise, we run 12 crits. Not even joking with you. 4 Stealth Dragon Noroi, grade 0, boost, 30k shield, continue sending out 4 summons in your deck. 4 Stealth Dragon Ganbaku, and 4 Stealth Dragon Kurobane. Now, a lot of you are probably going to tell me, wait, Ezel, this is every other time you advocate for the draw PG, and every other time people will most likely argue with you on that. So why is this the one time where draw PGs would actually make a decent amount of sense? Why do you now run 12 crit? Well, this is a protect deck, first off, which is fine. This deck has 5 attacks. Also fine, but a lot of decks also have 5 attacks. The reason why I do it here is just because, like, I don't know, I want to try something new with ninjas, and I was like, I kind of want to go 12 crit. What chaos will I unleash with possible 6 drive checks? Yeah, that chaos, triple critical trigger, 1 in each 6 drives. Yeah, really good. It definitely, when you got the multi-attack of like 5 attacks backing you, and all your numbers are like at least 10k drops on their own, added with a critical pressure, and you are typically forcing them to 4 damage early game, yeah, 12 crits the way to go with this, especially if you're playing my playstyle. And then our heal trigger is Voracious Stealth Rogue Kosode. Yeah. We all understand why I don't like Heal Gardens, right? I don't have to explain it for like a 70th time. Well, if you want an actual explanation, go back like 4 weeks and you'll probably find a video that tells you why I don't like Heal Gardens, but the main reason is, the shortened version of it is they're detrimental to... Sorry, I choked on something. The main reason why I don't run them is because they're detrimental to my playstyle, but that's the main reason why I don't run them. If you want to run them, you can, but I do prefer regular heals. On to our grade 1s. 4 copies of Stealth Beast Jadouneko. Grade 1, boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Continuous soul, if you have a Vanguard and the Getsu in his card name, gets +2 grade. So, you know, if you're on the grade 2, the grade 1, or the grade 3, or even the grade 0, and somehow this got into the soul, this is a grade 3, which is really good because the Magetsu grade 3 original requires you to soul blast to grade 2, so that's really easy to get. And auto rare, at the end of the battle, they're boosted. If you have Vanguard and Magatsu in his card name, put it to soul, choose any number of your normal units on rear and bounce into hand. Really good, especially because the Magatsu requires you to bounce units for this effect to go off, which means you can just boost it. I mean, swing with a column, then swing with this unit's column with a boost as it, and then shove it to soul, bounce all your other units, and use Magatsu skill to call more things, which is really nice about it. And I question when people say Unen is better, because Union, it does require, they're the same cost in terms of boosting. The difference is Union says the card it boosted to soul instead of itself, and you only get to bounce 2 units, while they can be anything still. And this allows you to bounce anything as long as it's a normal unit at any amount that you want to do by sending itself to soul, and it counts as a grade 3 in soul. So I question why people say Union's better on a rear. Like, I will give you this, it's a better ride target, obviously, but I don't think it's a better thing to call between these two. Like, if I have one or the other in hand, I'm just going to call this one and keep the other in hand for guarding fodder, because, to be fair with you, this is honestly better to call to rear. I mean, they're both so good, but if you have both, pick this one over it. 4 copies of it, though, because, free soul, gets a board bounce, and acts as a grade 3 in soul. Speaking of Stealth Dragon Union, we have Stealth Dragon Unen. Sounds like Union. Grade 1, boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto, when it's rolled upon, Soul Blast 1 reveal 1 grade 3 normal unit from your hand. Search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 with a different card name and the revealed card for the cost. Reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you chose, and then you choose a card from your hand and put it to the bottom of the deck. So the downside for this is, regardless, if you choose to pay the cost for that, even if you don't get a search, you still have to send something to bottom. But the good news is, you can reveal one of your Magatsus and then just get another one. So, you got both of them now, so that's pretty good. And they stole that right from Eternity Chaser, from Zero. They stole it right from it. That is almost the exact same skill. But then, auto rear at the end of the battle, they boosted a rear guard, shove the boosted unit to soul, and choose 2 of your rear guards and return them to hand. So yeah, it can bounce itself too, but still not better. Plus, it also requires you to boost a rear guard. This can boost anything. So, downside is it requires a Magatsu Vanguard, but still. So, I guess for versatility, quote-unquote, Unen's better, but in a Magatsu deck, yeah, this is obviously better. Either way, they're both still good. This, obviously, your main grade run right target. You run it at 4 of, but if there's a choice between these two of who to call to board, call this one to board. There's no reason to call this one if this is in your hand. And then, unless you really want that boost. And then our last grade 1, who for some reason is going after the main grade 1 ride. 4 copies of the actual main grade 1, though, because of its name. Stealth Dragon Magatsu Breath. Grade 1, boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto rear when placed, if you have Vanguard Magatsu in his card name, it gets +3. So, on place during either player's turn, during any time during Zed turn, it's an 11k base for the turn. So that's good. Especially because this deck can call during battle phase. And auto rear, at the end of the battle that it attacked or boosted, Soul Blast 1, discard a card and return all your rear guards in the same column as unit to hand. So, it bounces itself, it bounces the thing that it boosted, or was boosted by. So all around, that's pretty good, and for some reason I never remember that effect existing, or the times that I do are the times that I have only 1 soul, and that said soul is a grade 3 that I need for other purposes. Magatsu Breath comes in handy in the case where if all your other bouncers fail, aka this or this. Yes, okay, then you rely on, and your grade 2 version of this, then yes, okay, you can rely on this to bounce something, but otherwise, you play it for the 3k, you bounce it, then you call it back, and then it gets another 3k, and the only reason why it's in the deck at 4 is because of the name and because of what the reverse does. So 4 copies of Magatsu Breath because, he does have a good art, though, so, yeah. Grade 2s. 2 copies of Stealth Fiend Kurobane. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear. When placed, Soul Blast 1, your opponent chooses a trigger unit from their hand, and they may discard it. If they do not, you draw a card. So, you use this to, force them to drop a guard, because if they don't, you just get a possible guard out of it, or you just get discard fodder for later cards, such as, I don't know why I want to say Murakumo Reverse when that's not what it's called. That also not even in the name of a unit, it's the name of the clan. But, it's not Hakibogi, the Magetsu, there we go. Magetsu Reverse, it gives you hand cards fodder for that. So, and plus we do sometimes have an excess of soul on occasions. Either we have an excess of soul or we have no soul at all. So, 2 copies of Tengu because, slight pressure that you can use during the battle phase if you choose to call it via Magetsu Storm's effect. 2 of. 3 copies, wait, just to make sure that's a rigor, yeah, that's a rigor scope. Anyways, 3 copies of Stealth Beast Chigasumi. Yeah, any Nubatama deck I make is most likely going to have this thing at some number. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 9k base, auto rear. When it swings into anything, discard a card and it gets +15 for the battle. Yeah, it's a free, okay, Counterblast and Soul Blast free 24k swing into something. With a Protect 2, which is my preferred gift with this deck, it's a 29k swing. So, really good. It can be really used at any grade in a deck that can rush. If you play it right, then this card is deadly on first grade 3 turn? Yeah? I've never pulled it off because I don't want to drop 1. He's never in my hand when I try this, but Also, I don't want to drop my hand cards below 3 when I'm at 3 damage, especially when I'm playing against the Force deck. So, one day Chigasumi is going to be the MVP of this deck. I just don't know when. But 3 copies of him because he's literally in every one of my Nubatama decks, and yeah, he's yet to let me down in the cases where I call him. 4 copies of Stealth Dragon Royale Nova, our Magatsu support card. Grade 2 Intercept 5k Shield, 9k base. Auto when it's placed on Vant or rear. Look at from anywhere, by the way, and during any time. Look at top 2. Choose up to 1 card with Magatsu in its card name from one of them, reveal it, put it to your hand, and put the rest on the bottom. Why does that skill hate me? I know it's only 2, and there's only 16 Magatsus in this deck, but... it could at least give me 1 every now and again. It doesn't have to just be both of them being crits or, both of them being triggers in general. You don't have to cock block me, Royal Nova. I get the point. You hate me. And then auto rear, when it swings into anything, you may have this and you get +6 for the turn, and if you do at the end of said turn, it goes to bottom. So, it's really nice. Because if you bounce it to hand before the end of the turn, then that means he doesn't go back to bottom, which means you get to keep an extra 5k shield and get to swing for the extra power and not lose anything out of it. So all around, I think that's really good, the way they worded that skill and the way they made it. And if that top 2 skill would actually be helpful, then yeah, this thing would be a lot better. I still give it a 4 because none of its skills cost Counterblast or Soul Blast, and we all know that if your skill doesn't cost Counterblast or Soul Blast, you're most likely a 4 of and a thumbs up in my book, which this thing is. So 4 of with a thumbs up in my book because it's a really good support card. And then 4 copies of our last grade 2 and arguably the best grade 2 in the world, or yeah, nope, that fact is definitely arguable. I can think of a few off the top of my head. One of them partially being biased towards Wonder Ezel for certain reasons that anyone who has ever faced me when I use Ezels greatly understands why I'm saying this, but yeah, anyways. Stealth Dragon Magatsu Gale, Grade 2 Intercept 5k Shield, 9k base, Auto Vanner Rear when placed, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, to draw a card, and this unit gets +6 for the turn. Yeah, funny story. If you know me, and you've seen me play Nubatama before, you understand how rare for me to draw Gale is. I've played Magatsus before, and I played them 2 years ago, and that was it. But that's always because I would literally never get Gale in my hand. Not just opening hand, but just hand in general. He would never show up unless it was the turn that I win, that I didn't need him for, or the turn that I die, or sorry, the turn before I die, in my drive check. He would never show up, and the only times he would show up besides that would be in my damage zone, so it's not like I could use the goddamn guy in the first place. So the first time I got to use him was literally a week ago, and I screamed with joy finally I get to use you after 2 years of failure! Anyways, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 is still a hefty cost for me. That draw, though, is pretty decent, and that 6k is pretty nice as well. But you run it for the auto rear at the end of the battle that it attacked, regardless if it was boosted or not, and regardless of what it swung into. You may shove it to soul and bounce a rear guard to hand. Really nice. It gets you a soul for, your other Soul Blasters. Unfortunately, the main Soul Blaster in this deck is Gale himself, Tengu, and Storm, who requires a grade 3, so no, that's not that helpful. But he does get to bounce another rear guard to hand, which means he opens up 2 circles on your board and sets you up for Magatsu's skill to go off. So all around, I like Gale. I wish I could use him more. I don't know why he never shows up in my hand, because this was even before when I ran 6 draw triggers. He still doesn't show up. Can someone help me fix that? 4 of Gale. Grade 3 time. 4 copies of what I would argue would be the main grade 3 if it had 1 Vanguard skill, but I'm honestly really cool with it not having a Vanguard skill. Covert Demonic Dragon, Magatsu Storm Reverse. I do hate that name, though, because every other... Wait, let me make sure of something. Yeah, yeah, every other reverse, more or less, or all the older reverses, they would always get something added to their name. For example, Maelstrom was Bloom Storm Karma Dragon, Maelstrom Reverse. Lucia was Dragon Queen, Silver Thorn Dragon Queen, or Empress. I don't remember what her full name was. Lucia Reverse. It would always be something additional, but then they just made it here instead of giving it a little bit of extra wording. They just said Covert Demonic Dragon Magatsu Storm Reverse. I am disappointed by that. I really wish they would have given it any other even if it was just a small little name. I don't know, Hell Hazard. That's no, that's a bad one. But you get the point. I really wish it was something else, just to add on to it, but it's fine. Anyways, grade 3 200 protective, 12k base. Auto when it's placed on rearguard circle by the ability of your Vanguard with Magatsu in its card name. Lock all of your rearguards without Magatsu in their card names, and all your units get +5 for the turn. Then, if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, counterblast 1, discard 2 until end of turn. This thing can perform drive checks on rear. Or sorry, the battle that attacked. So, you can't abuse this in premium because Bushy predicted this, or not predicted this, but they were afraid of Blade Master, so they, stopped stands from working with extra drive checks. And then, it has an auto when it's retired from rearguard ability during your opponent's turn. Soul Blast 1, and you can bounce it back to hand, your opponent discards a card. So really nice. It can work with the old Magetsu in the sense that, you can use it as PG fodder and then bounce it back to hand so you can call it next turn. And then they also have to discard one doing that, which is really nice. But then also, regardless of what grade your opponent's at, when you call this via effects, which you can do in this deck at their grade 2 turn and your first grade 3 turn, you can lock the rest of your board that isn't Magetsu, which is why you typically don't want to extra call out of your hand unless you really feel like it. And then the entirety of your board would get +5. Now, if this deck had something similar to Metamorphox from Morokumo, I would definitely say this thing would be a little bit broken because you can just use Metamorphox first and then your whole board gets +5, and if they're at 3 damage, unless they have a lot of guarding power, they're probably going to die. But then, if they are at grade 3, you get possible extra drives. And best part is, that is not once per turn. Or named once per turn. So if you call 2 of them, you get +10. And you can possibly get a grand total of 6 drive checks that turn. And that is why the 12 crits is here. 12 crits and +10. And it is very easy to place down 2 of these because the first half of that skill, which is the important part, is for free. 4 of this thing. There is no reason not to run out of 4 of it in a Magetsu deck, unless you cannot afford it. And then our last unit is our main grade 3, and the thing that's going to be placed on the Vanguard all the time. Covert Demonic Dragon Magatsu Storm. I'll pronounce it properly for once. Magatsu Storm. Nah, it doesn't taste as good. Anyways, grade 3, 200 protective, 12k base, auto van. When it is attacked by your opponent's Vanguard, counterblast 1, nuke 2 rearguards, and so you cannot be thrown to battle. Okay. It gets past the cards that say if your opponent were to guard from hand, they got to guard with 2 or more. So, things like Ramio, who people claim to be a good finisher, which I will agree in some cases it is, in some cases it's a very bad finisher. Yeah, this is one of those cases where it's a very bad finisher, because it literally does nothing against this deck. Just, you leave them with 2 rear guards. Counterblast 1, nuke said 2 rear guards. Fuck you. But easy PG, gets past literally everything that says your opponent cannot PG. And then auto van once per turn when your rear guard is bounced to hand. Also, remember, that's not a once per turn, so they were prepared just in case they started spamming cards that have restand abilities. Yeah, Bushy kind of prepared for their own bullshit. Anyways, auto van once per turn when your rear guard is returned to your hand during your turn. Soul Blast 1 grade 3 to draw a card and call 3 cards from your hand to rear guard, and they all get +5. I've been forgetting to do that. Have I been forgetting to do that? I think I may have been forgetting to give them +5. But either way, you get a draw. So at least the rear guard is bound to hand and the draw, so you're at least getting to call 2 possibly. But also, the 3 call is a mandatory 3. I mean, you either call up to... It's call 3, so either you have 3 cards to call, or you call as much as physically possible. So you have 2, you're guaranteed they're going to have at least 2, you gotta call the 2. But, they get you +5, so that's pretty good. And if you combine it with a fucking reverse over here, and you just called 3 Magetsus, and 2 of them or just 3 of them happen to be reverses, which is possible, that's +15 to all of them. No, that's +20 to all of them. So, these 2 are hitting for 32, this thing is hitting for 27, and your opponent, and this probably has, both of them probably have Twin Drive, and the ones in the front row, and your opponent is probably saying, I am so screwed. So, yeah, really simple. He gets you a free PG, or a counterblast 1, and nuke 2 rear guards, which you can just combo with this to Soul Blast 1, bounce it back to hand, and make them discard a card. So, PG, which makes your opponent discard for it. With plenty of bouncers. We have 1 bouncer, we have 2 bouncers, we have 3 bouncers, we have 4 bouncers. We got 4 bouncers to work with. Yeah, Magetsu Storm's really good. It all around is an amazing grade 3. It's very fun playing, because you just get 5 attacks, and you get 6 drive checks out of it. You get crits. You get power, and your opponent will probably hate you. 4 of. And then our gifts. 5 protect 1, 5 protect 2. Nubatama, or to be more exact, Magetsu is one of the decks where I think the gifts are definitely interchangeable, where you could pick based off the matchup, and it's not just a set thing. I do prefer one over the other, but it is. I will change it occasionally. So Protect 1, when acquired, it goes to hand. You manually place it on guard circle, and it's a Sentinel. And Auto Guard, when it's placed on guard circle, discard a card from hand whenever these cannot be hit on the battle. Okay, I don't like this one in this deck, because this is literally a PG. I mean, granted, this one works for rear guards, this one only works for vanguards, but I think it's not needed, considering most of the time the dangerous attacks are the vanguard. I mean, nowadays it is kind of the rear guards, but I still think the vanguards are pretty dangerous, and the rear guards, if you time it right, it's not really a problem. And then Protect 2, when acquired, it goes on a rear guard circle, and that unit on that circle gets plus 5k power permanently, and 10k shield and intercepts, and that affects stacks. So there's 2 of them on the same circle, plus 10k base, and then plus 20 when it intercepts. If there's 5, it is plus 25k power at all times, and plus 50 when it intercepts. I prefer the Protect 2 because, you know, in a deck that has 12 crits and can get 5 attacks in a turn, you want to get pretty good multi-attack power out of it. So, you know, combo with reverse in this thing, you get some numbers out of the unit on the Protect circle, and then if you ride twice, you know, your numbers are hitting for good numbers. So I do prefer Protect 2. If you want to go Protect 1, go Protect 1, but I do think Protect 2 will work better in a deck that can just bounce their rear guards and then kind of swap around their positions, which is really fun about them. And then we have a Quick Seal, which is one of your attacks, plus 5k for the battle. Yeah, discard fodder for this. Not even. We're not even going to jump to that. Just discard fodder for this. And or your Unen back here, or technically your send to bottom of deck fodder. And that was the deck, so I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, I do find this deck fun. I always love cards that bounce, which is literally why I fell in love with Bermuda and why I started playing Anj, and then everyone who knew me stopped trying to play against me when they knew I was using Bermuda, because, Anj was fun back, and when I mean Anj, I mean V Anj. Yeah, that was fun. So that's the thing. I always find the bouncing fun, especially because it allows you to rearrange your board and then do some unpredictable things. I also just like the ninja mechanic, and I am the type of person that would do like the Naruto ninja hand signs when they're making plays. I don't need to do it. I want to do it. And it's just all around a good deck. And I also like the reverse just the most, just because, you know, he doesn't overtake the original grade 3, who I also really like. And, you know, Gale, I think we're starting to bond a bit. Royal Nova is probably going to be on my hate list for a while. But yeah, all right, I find this deck very fun, and I find it very good. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon, join our Discord, follow the Twitch, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.